بعد از عمری مجاهدت حسینی و دائمی و خستگی ناپذیر، روح بلند و ملکوتی کوه نستوه ولایت، پدر مهربان امت، رهبر و امام مسلمین، حضرت آیت الله العظما سید علی حسینی خامنه‌ای در راه سربلندی حرم جمهوری اسلامی ایران شهد گوارای شهادت را نوشیدند و به ملکوت اعلی پیوستند.
Iran's supreme leader is dead, and I don't think the real story is the funeral. I think the real story is the silence that follows. Before I go deeper into this, let me say something directly. If you actually watch my videos fully, if you stay until the end instead of just reacting to headlines, then take 1 second right now, like the video, subscribe, and stay connected. Because these conversations are not surface level. They're about understanding power before it explodes. Now let me speak honestly. When people hear that Iran's supreme leader has died, most reactions are emotional or dramatic. Some celebrate, some panic, some predict collapse, some predict war. I don't. I think the most dangerous thing we can do is underestimate how systems like Iran actually function. For more than 3 decades, that position was held by Ali Khamenei. Whether you agreed with him or not, he was not just a religious authority. He was the final checkpoint of the Iranian state. Presidents answered to him. The military ultimately aligned under him. Nuclear red lines were defined by him. When someone like that dies, people imagine chaos. But I see something different. I see consolidation. Because regimes built on ideology and security don't fall apart easily. They prepare. On paper, the successor is chosen by the assembly of experts. That sounds procedural. It sounds democratic in structure. But we both know real power is more layered than constitutional text. In my opinion, the real center of gravity in this transition is not just the clerical body. It's the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. If you don't understand the IRGC, you don't understand Iran. They are military, but they are also economic giants. They are intelligence operators. They influence regional networks. They are embedded in infrastructure, security, and strategic doctrine. When a supreme leader dies, I don't think the IRGC becomes nervous. I think they become decisive. Because uncertainty is a moment where security institutions either lose influence or expand it. And historically, they expand it. Now here's where my perspective may differ from mainstream commentary. A lot of analysts talk about reform versus hardline. I think that's too simplistic. This isn't a movie where a reformist hero suddenly reshapes the system. The Islamic Republic is designed to protect itself. It filters candidates. It controls narratives. It shapes outcomes long before announcements are made. So when people ask, who will be the next supreme leader? I don't just ask who is qualified. I ask, who is safe for the system? And safe doesn't mean moderate. Safe means predictable. Safe means aligned with the security establishment. Safe means someone who won't fracture elite unity. Some people previously speculated about figures like Ebrahim Raisi. Others mentioned senior clerics with theological authority. But I think the name matters less than the alignment. The real decision is not about personality. It's about balance. Balance between religious legitimacy and coercive strength. If a cleric has high theological credibility but lacks backing from security institutions, that creates vulnerability. If a security-aligned figure lacks religious weight, that creates legitimacy questions. So the successor must sit at the intersection of both. And I don't believe that decision is being made spontaneously. In systems like this, succession planning doesn't start after death. It starts years before. Quietly. Strategically. So here's my honest opinion. The battle may look silent to us, but the outcome might already be structured. What worries me more is not internal selection. It's external reaction. The United States will analyze every signal. Israel will measure deterrence posture. Saudi Arabia will calculate regional balance. Russia and China will assess continuity of alignment. Every speech from Tehran will be dissected. And during transitions, misinterpretation becomes more likely. This is the period where a single military drill or missile test can be misread as escalation. And that's where danger increases. I don't automatically assume war. But I do assume signaling. Because when leadership changes, regimes often project strength. Not because they want confrontation, but because they want stability. Stability inside requires deterrence outside. There is also the nuclear question. Under Khamenei, nuclear negotiations were controlled, cautious, and framed within ideological boundaries. Will that change? Honestly, I don't expect dramatic shifts. Even if a new leader has a slightly different tone, the strategic doctrine won't flip overnight. Institutions shape policy more than individuals. But tone matters. Tone can open doors. Tone can close them. If the next supreme leader speaks with sharper rhetoric, markets will react. If he signals pragmatic negotiation, diplomats will lean forward. This transition is not just about Iran. It's about oil prices. It's about regional militias. It's about sanction regimes. It's about global power competition. And here's something I think many people ignore. Iran's population is young. A large portion was born after the 1979 revolution. They don't have the same emotional attachment to revolutionary history. They live with inflation. They live with global internet exposure. They live with economic strain. So the next supreme leader isn't just inheriting institutions. He's inheriting expectations. If those expectations are ignored, internal pressure builds slowly. Not dramatically, but steadily. And slow pressure can be more destabilizing than sudden protest. In my view, the smartest move for the system is controlled continuity with subtle adaptation. Not radical reform. Not aggressive escalation. But calibrated adjustment. The question is whether elite unity holds. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. The only real threat to centralized systems is elite fragmentation. If clerics disagree publicly, if security leaders compete, if factions leak narratives, then uncertainty multiplies. But if the transition is quick and unanimous, that signals internal alignment. Watch how fast the successor is announced. Watch how unified official statements appear. Watch whether there are rumors of disagreement. Those indicators tell you more than headlines. I also want to address something emotional. Some viewers see this moment as a chance for regime collapse. Others see it as a disaster. I think both extremes miss the structural reality. Political systems, especially security-heavy ones, are resilient. They don't collapse because one leader dies. They collapse when institutions fracture. And right now, I don't see clear signs of institutional fracture. That doesn't mean it's impossible. It means it's unlikely in the short term. So my conclusion? The world should not expect chaos tomorrow. The world should expect disciplined messaging, symbolic strength, and a carefully curated transition. But long-term? That's where uncertainty lives. Because leadership transitions create subtle shifts that reveal themselves years later. Advisor appointments, budget priorities, foreign policy emphasis, internal reforms. You don't see transformation in the first speech. You see it in the fifth decision. So here's the question I'm thinking about, and I want you to think about it too. Is the next supreme leader just a continuation of the past? Or is he the beginning of a slow evolution that we won't fully recognize until it's too late? Power doesn't always change loudly. Sometimes it changes direction by 1 degree. And 1 degree, over time, creates a completely different destination. That's why this moment matters. Not because of drama, but because of trajectory. And trajectory is everything in geopolitics. Let me know your perspective. Do you think this transition brings stability? Or do you think we are entering a more unpredictable phase in the Middle East? Because whether we like it or not, what happens in Tehran doesn't stay in Tehran. It reshapes calculations from Washington to Riyadh to Tel Aviv. And the real battle? It's not on the streets. It's in the silence. And silence, in politics, is never empty.